Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the physical appearance and physical attractiveness of the Aquarius Rising. Now, if you happen to be one of the Aquarius Rising individuals who sent me in your photo for today's video, then I just want to say thank you so much. And if you were not presented in the video today, I do sincerely apologize, but let's see how we go with this. Hopefully you are. Depends on the editing. But before we do get started, make sure that you give this video a like if you like it, okay? I hope you do enjoy it. Also, make sure to subscribe if you have not already. And one more quick thing to mention here. I have released my own merchandise. So I now have a Teespring. I am going to provide links to my merchandise page in the description box. So yeah, if you want to pick up a piece of my merchandise, then feel free. Alright, so with all those introductions out of the way, Aquarius Risings, let's do this! Okay, so what I just want to start off by saying is that this video is specifically focusing on the Aquarius Rising, so looking at the rising sign in order to analyze physical appearance and attractiveness. However, also keep in mind that the sun sign along with your midheaven sign, well, these things can also provide more of an indication into physical appearance as well. But some astrologers do like to look at the location of the chart ruler within the chart in order to get more of an insight there too. Now, I have previously made a series all about physical appearance within astrology, but that was about 3 years ago. And I would definitely say that my understanding of astrology has definitely grown, evolved since then. But the main difference between that series and this one is that in the previous series I used celebrity examples, but with this one we're looking at you guys, okay, my subscribers, my viewers, you guys who send in your images to me. So again, thank you so much. Okay, so let's get into this by looking at the first obvious example to mention when it comes to the Aquarius Rising physical appearance and attractiveness, and that is to do with how unapologetically themselves they are, and how this can be so insanely attractive. Seriously, in a world full of opinions, an Aquarius Rising individual is not afraid to say, hey, you know what, that's not my style, or hey, you know what, I want to try this new thing, without consoling other people about it. And if you have an opinion, okay, sure, an Aquarius Rising individual may listen to your opinion, but that does not mean that they have to follow your opinion, okay? They really can be such free and independent thinkers, and so this can be seen through their physical appearance. And so it's these types of traits about the Aquarius Rising that I think can be deemed as physically attractive, especially to those who are more outside of the box thinkers like them, and also to those who are looking for a bit of a change in their lives. And after having a conversation with an Aquarius Rising individual similar to the Sagittarius Rising, you might walk away being infatuated with their mind and with their intellect. Then again, maybe for others, they can be baffled and a bit confused. Though still, it's the inventive and genius mind of an Aquarius Rising individual that can have certain people hooked as they seek to know more. Though, kind of going back to how they're unapologetically themselves, what can be physically attractive about them is how they're not afraid to stand out. They're not afraid to look silly or strange or a bit weird or a bit out of place. And they're not afraid to jump off and on certain bandwagons when the time strikes. So they could join a particular cause or a particular movement, for example, or they could follow a certain trend or a certain style as another example. and they will be all in, but then the moment that they change their minds, they're like, this is not for me anymore, they're gone, okay? They are gone, and they will not care about how others perceive them for making their decision to do so. And so in this way, they can be unpredictable people, and they know that they don't need to conform to anything if it doesn't align with who they are as individuals. And so it's these qualities that can be seen as pretty physically attractive. Which, by the way, I did notice how a few people who had sent in their images to me, how they had tattoos in their pictures, along with a few people who had dyed hair within their pictures. And also a few of them had face piercings too. I saw a few nose rings, along with one person in particular who had piercings right here. Basically, Aquarius Risings are not afraid to try new things, and they're not afraid to go outside of particular guidelines or standards. Which leads me on to another trait about the Aquarius Risings that can be deemed as physically attractive, and that is to do with their ethereal and out of this world look to their appearance. And what I mean by this is that they can radiate this lightness and this delicacy through their physical features and their mannerisms and their gestures. It sort of gives you this impression that they can't be fully grasped or definitively gotten or understood. And this ethereal look can also give the impression here that they're heavenly, or that they're angelic, or that they're pretty virtuous people. Sort of like they have good morals and they promote the wellness of others. And so when you meet them, you might think to yourself, how are you so noble? How are you so good and so kind? They really can be such friendly and social people, likable people, and their intent is to get along with everyone without letting their emotional biases get in the way. Basically, there's no hidden agenda when it comes to them, and they can also be very giving and generous people, which only adds to their angelic appearance, which of course can be seen as physically attractive. Though another thing here about this ethereal look is how open and kind of airy they appear. It's this whole feeling of you are so completely free to be yourself whenever you're with me. And I think that this can provide other people, no matter who that person is meeting the Aquarius Rising, it can provide them with such a comfort almost. They sort of give you the openness and space to fully express who you are, provided that you don't try to control or diminish their freedom and their space to do the same. So if an Aquarius Rising decides, you know what, today I'm going to wear big glasses, they'll do it. Or if they decide, I don't want to wear any makeup today, they'll do it. Or if they decide, I want to wear a full face of makeup today and I really want to dress up and I want to be so glam, they'll do it. Whilst also simultaneously encouraging you, if you are friends with them or if you're their partner, etc., to do the same. Though in terms of their facial features, there tends to be a daintiness to their facial features, meaning that they can appear delicate and small and quite pretty and elegant. Now, of course, these things can vary depending on many factors, but out of the images that were sent in to me, I noticed how their eyes appeared soft and delicate. They don't appear as intense or as focused as the Scorpio Risings, and they also don't appear as serious or as stern as the Capricorn Risings. But their eyes, they're still captivating and they're still dazzling and they're still striking, but in a calming and soothing sort of way where it's like, cool, I can let loose whenever I'm around this person. I can breathe whenever I'm around this person. Though likewise, it's also the same kind of dainty aura that can be seen through their body movements as well. So whenever they reach out to grab a coffee cup, for example, just watch as they do it in quite a gentle manner. But at the same time, this is an interesting point to make. What you may also find is how they can have the most animated facial expressions. So if they're surprised, for example, it's like, oh my god, shocking, what? Or if they're really, really happy, it may be something like, geez, you know, just, yeah. Or if you're telling a story that's kind of embarrassing and a bit cringy, it's like, now I personally have Uranus making a trine to my Ascendant, and I am actually an Aquarius myself, that's my sun sign. And I would definitely say that I relate to having animated facial expressions. Though, to be fair, we also gotta look at the Saturnian side of the Aquarius rising here as well, where they can keep their face pretty stone cold and just more formal in its appearance and expression. So you may find this whenever maybe they're listening intently to other people, where it's just like, okay, yeah. So in this respect, they can be pretty good at switching between a managed and controlled type of face and then the animated and kind of eccentric type of face. It all really depends on the situation and also upon who they're around. Alright, so moving along, another thing about the physical appearance and attractiveness of the Aquarius rising is to do with their nose. And their noses tend to be pretty prominent and pretty strong on their face. It can appear quite long or wide, or a combination of the two. And the tip of the nose especially can appear quite bulky, meaning that there can be plenty of meat on the end of that nose. Now, I have read that they're known for having Roman noses. Now, I gotta say, I have a Roman nose. Can you see it arches over? Let me see if you can see that. I can't really see in the viewfinder, but I would say I've got a Roman nose. But yeah, they're commonly known for having Roman noses or hooked noses. But unfortunately, I can't really experiment with this theory because I didn't really receive any of the kind of, you know, side pictures, profile pictures. If this does run true for you and you have an Aquarius rising and you're watching this video today, then definitely let me know in the comment section. Though essentially their noses tend to be quite noticeable on their face. And another thing that tends to be pretty noticeable about their faces is their forehead. Their foreheads can appear quite wide or large, or they can appear as quite long and narrow. And out of the images sent into me, I did notice how a couple of them had these noticeable foreheads, along with quite pointed or sharp chins, kind of like aliens. Specifically the alien emoji, and just how fitting, seeing as Aquarians are known as the aliens of the zodiac. No, but seriously, I guess you could say that many of them do have diamond face shapes or heart face shapes. And I also saw variations of the oblong face shapes and triangular face shapes, and also some round face shapes as well. Though seeing as I bring up their alien heads, it's actually their mind that can be deemed as captivating and attractive. Now, I know that I kind of already touched on this at the beginning, but the term sapiosexual comes to mind because it's these people who can certainly both physically and mentally attract others with their smarts and their wit. If you want to have a deep and meaningful conversation, then go to an Aquarius rising individual, because you're not going to get the superficial fluff whenever you're conversing with them. They will challenge you, they will question you, and they will also encourage you to see beyond societal norms. And if you enjoy debating, then great, because they'll most likely enjoy debating with you as well. If you're someone who admires others who use their intelligence to carry conversations forward, or if you're someone who is attracted to others who can expand on ideas and ask questions that give rise to other interesting points, then you might really enjoy the company of an Aquarius rising individual. Which, can I just say, this is not necessarily about the Aquarius risings having book smarts. It's more so about how they question things with the desire to analyze the validity of a particular subject. They love to experiment and play around with ideas, even ideas that have been scientifically proven and weaved into society. They like to just really go above and beyond, okay? Above and beyond what is actually true, above and beyond what has been tried and tested, even if at the end of their experiment, they're wrong. Sure, this might be aggravating, really frustrating for some people, but perhaps by understanding that the Aquarius rising simply enjoys debating, simply enjoys the act of having their mind stimulated, then maybe they'll feel a bit more understood as people as well. And I suppose that this leads us on to the final point that I want to make, and that is to do with how spending more time with an Aquarius rising can make others grow more and more interested and intrigued by them. Kind of imagine them as an onion in that they have many layers to them. Not to mention they're continuously seeking to evolve as people, and so in this respect, whenever you do spend time with the Aquarius rising, then you're presented with new things to learn about, and you're also shown different facets of yourself being reflected back to you as well. So let's say, for example, that the Aquarius rising individual completely changes or they evolve, resulting in them having an entirely new view of the world. When you go to see them after they've made this change in their lives, you might feel inspired to create some sort of change within your own life for the better as well, whatever that means for you as an individual. Or let's say that you're only just starting to get to know an Aquarius rising individual. You might perceive them as thought-provoking or as deeply focused on the intellect, but as you start to sort of peel back the layers, you start to see their vulnerable side. You start to see their more emotional side. Yes, you might see them as kind of cold or kind of aloof at the beginning, but then whenever you start to actually properly understand their emotional world, you might think, you know what, I never realized that you felt that way. So in this way, your attraction to the Aquarius rising may grow stronger, because then you start to acknowledge just how deeply the Aquarius rising feels. Even if above the surface they act like they must keep it together for everybody else. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the physical appearance and physical attractiveness of the Aquarius rising. Now, if you happen to have an Aquarius rising, or if you happen to be one of the individuals who sent in your image to me today, then definitely let us know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. And also make sure, if you have not subscribed to this channel and you want to keep up to date with more videos from myself, then click that subscribe button. And if you're also interested in my merchandise, then my Teespring, as I say, is in the description box there too. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I will catch you on the next video on Hannah Selsewhere.